boys and girls, welcome to General Hospital MV, my GH After show. I know what y'all are here for. You're here for me to talk about Kiki's murder and Maura West's stellar performance as Ava Jerome after the fact, and we will get into that, but this is a week in review, so we gotta talk about the whole weeks first, and then we'll get into the good stuff, okay? So let's start with Josslyn and Oscar. As you guys know, Josslyn found out that Oscar was sick, and she went to go confront Oscar about it. Oscar confesses the whole truth, that he has a brain tumor and that it's inoperable and that he's refusing to get treatment. Now, Josslyn was like, please do it for me, and after she leaves, he's like, okay, I'm gonna do it for her. And he goes to the Quartermaine mansion to announce that. The Quartermaines, of course, are having their Thanksgiving pizza because, once again, their dinner was ruined. They actually started with pizza this time, gourmet pizza, and then it accidentally got donated to a soup kitchen. So, yeah, I guess even gourmet pizza isn't suffice to the gods of Thanksgiving for them to have the perfect Thanksgiving dinner. Now, of course, Oscar made it known to his parents that he is doing this for Josslyn. They don't care. I mean, Drew is so excited that he goes over to Josslyn's house to thank her for it. And by the way, I have to give it to Etta McCoy because her performance after she found out about Oscar's condition with her melting down to the ground, she is such a great actress. The show found a damn gem with this Eden girl, okay? So good job, Eden. But I also thought about the fact that when he did come over, Carly was there as well. And it just reminds me of like how distant they are now. I know that he's not Jason, but they were really close, and now he's like pretty much nothing to Carly. It's a little bit daunting to see them in a scene together after all this time. At the end of the week, it is time for Oscar's trial, and of course he is very nervous to go through with it, but he does, so that's what we're going to see Oscar go through this week on General Hospital. Now let's talk about Jordan and Curtis's wedding. The wedding part, not the murder part. So I know that Jordan and Curtis get a bad rep. They're boring, they're uninteresting, they don't have much story, but I actually kind of like them. Like, I think they're kind of cute, even with this recast, and y'all know I loved Vanessa, but I'm okay with this recast, honestly. The wedding was cute. It was pretty predictable, but it was cute nonetheless. Of course, Stella showed up at the perfect moment, you know, just cause to not get married and all that stuff, and she was like, I gotta say my piece. I want to say that I am sorry for being late. I'm so sorry, so I'm just gonna sit down. And finally, Stella caved. And I don't know if there are people upset about that. I'm actually relieved because that was the only part of Stella that I didn't like personally. Like, I just think that it was just painful to watch whenever she'd like fight with Jordan because she's such a loving character outside of that couple to begin with, and finally seeing her just kind of accept them as a couple was really nice for me to see. So I liked it, and I liked their reception too. It was a cute reception. And then of course, something terrible happened. I wonder what it could be. Well, let's rewind and find out. Let's talk about Kiki and Griffin. So, Kiki and Griffin are getting ready for the wedding. And by the way, I am so confused that they are because I am pretty sure that neither of them are friends with Jordan or Curtis. If you can pinpoint a time on GH where they even like shared scenes together as friends, let me know, because I don't remember a thing. But anyway, they're getting ready, but Kiki is so damn beautiful that Griffin has to boink her. So he boinks her, and that makes them late. But to make them later even still, Griffin gets a call from Monica saying that he has to go to the hospital to pick up a letter. So he does so, and they said that they're going to meet up at the wedding itself. Now, meanwhile, Ava and Kevin are making out at the gallery, and Laura sees it, and she is angry, and she rips up the check from Ava saying, I don't want your blood money. And that leaves Kevin and Ava alone by themselves again, and they have a bit of a heart-to-heart because Kevin does not want Ava to leave Port Charles, and she is still contemplating it. She's like, I have to. The only way that I can stay in Port Charles is if Kiki is gone. And that gets a twinge on Ryan's face. And then he ends up at Kiki's apartment. And then the next thing you know, she turns up dead at the wedding. Now, I was not surprised that Kiki was murdered. However, I was surprised to find her in that bed. I mean, how did Ryan get her all the way there without nobody seeing her? So strange, but he did it somehow. Anyway, so they find her in the bed, but she is face down. They actually bring Griffin into the room to see if she is actually dead or not. And then he turns the body over and realizes that it's Kiki. Listen. I love Griffin, and I love the actor that plays him, but the performance was less than stellar. So thank goodness when he went over to Ava's to tell her that Kiki was murdered and brought her back to the scene of the crime, and she saw Kiki, she brought her A game. Maura West killed those scenes.
Lauren Catherine Jerome, you open your eyes and you sit up. Please, Kiki.
That was a killer, amazing performance, and I think she just solidified her Emmy next year. So that'll be cool to see when she does win, and I'm confident in that. Even the next day when Ava was crying over the pictures on her bed, another great performance by Maura. The thing that I was more disappointed about was Roger Howarth's performance as Franco. Now, you guys know that Franco is not my favorite character. In fact, he's one of my least favorite characters on the show of all time. But I hear so much from so many of his fans being like, oh, Roger is this great actor. When he gets the material, he is fantastic in it. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that this is a great performance. Like, you just found out the girl that you saw as a daughter was killed, and your reaction was, and then he went back to work. Like, what? Like, I know that he went to Ava's and tried to talk her down, but she didn't want to hear anything other than, like, blame for herself. So I get why Franco left. But I expected so much more from Roger, and I expected the writers to do so much more with the character involving Kiki's death. But it seemed like the stuff that should have been Franco's scenes bounced to Julian's. And that made me even more confused because Julian and Kiki didn't really have a relationship, but yet he was the one marching over to the PCPD to get justice for Kiki. Oops, that reminds me, Griffin was arrested for Kiki's murder. Now, this is so frustrating to me. Obviously, Ryan planted the murder weapon in Griffin's apartment, but the PCPD are so, like, hard on him. Like, it makes no sense that they're being so harsh. Because, as Alexis said, there is no way the guy has it in him to kill anybody. And even Jordan should know this, you know, since she invited him to the wedding because they're so close. Jordan girl! Even Ava is a better suspect than Griffin. Like, you know that there is tension between Ava and Griffin and Kiki. And Ava has a reason to kill her daughter. And it's like, oh, like, why wasn't she the first one they went to about this? Doesn't make any sense, but whatever. They gotta just drag this out somehow, I guess. I don't exactly know how this investigation can lead to Ryan, but I do know that Ryan has an ego, and I'm sure, I am almost positive that he is gonna go to Ava and say what he did at some point, because he has a big head about it, and he's doing it all for her, and I feel like he thinks that she is like, just like him. And I think maybe he is second guessing that with her reaction to Kiki's death, but not that much, you know, he's still seeming proud of what he did for her, so I guess we'll see. Time will tell, I guess. Just get Kevin out of Ferncliff already, okay? Okay, so my overall thoughts on Kiki Jerome being murdered is that, honestly, I don't really care that the character is gone. It didn't really hit me all that hard. And don't get it twisted, I am a fan of Haley Aaron, and I preferred her Kiki over Kristen Alderson's Kiki any day of the week. That being said, the character of Kiki Jerome has been pretty pointless almost consistently through her entire run, regardless of who played her. We know that we only got Kiki Jerome as a character because of the lawsuit that GH went through when they had to get rid of the One Life to Live characters and they needed Kristen Alderson to play someone else fast. So they came up with Kiki, and it was so half-assed, just like the rest of the characters being brought on to the show. Like, who was it? It was Silas and Franco, and those were mistakes too. Silas was clearly unsuccessful, and everyone hated Franco coming back at all, because it was not a character that was supposed to be brought back at all, and no one wanted to see him ever again, under Roger, under anyone. I feel like consistently over the years, Kiki Jerome has floated around in the GH world for nothing. Like, she was Morgan's girlfriend, she was Michael's girlfriend, she was Dylan's girlfriend, but she didn't really have a story of her own. Like, the only story that she has a claim to fame to is the Me Too storyline, and that was fairly recent, but this character has been around for, like, I think 4 or 5 years by now. And it's like, I wasn't invested in her at all. Like, this is a character who doesn't even really have much friends on the canvas, and it showed, judging by everyone's reactions. I mean, Maxie and Peter were just kind of cheersing happily after the fact that Kiki was murdered, and they were in like a performance together, Maxie and Kiki. So, like, no one cares. Just Franco kind of cares with the, you know, and of course Ava cared, and of course Michael will care when he finds out. Carly and Sunny, they were kind of just shocked, but they didn't really seem to, like, be butthurt over it, you know? Like, they were caring more about Morgan, and they didn't even really bring up Avery. Did you guys notice that? Like, what? I don't know. It's just, I care as much as the citizens of Port Charles about Kiki. That's the reality. She didn't really have, you know, significance on the show. So, and someone had to go. I mean, they got Ryan Chamberlain on the show. He has to murder someone, and I'd much rather it be Kiki than like one of our veteran characters. Like, imagine the uproar if he killed Elizabeth, per se. No one would be happy, and we'd probably like have to sign petitions just to bring her back again, because Elizabeth has been done dirty so many times by these writers, including but not limited to being put with Franco. And I don't know. I mean, someone had to go, and I'm glad it's Kiki. And I feel like at least another murder has to happen. And if I'm being honest, like, they might as well make it Amy or Francesca, because we never see them anyway. Anyway, beyond that, the only other thing that happened on the show was that Obrecht contacted Britt, and Anna listened in on the phone call and figured out where she was. So that's what we're going to see Anna do next week. Alright, now I want to know what you guys think about this week's GH. What did you think of Kiki's murder? Are you sad that Haley Aaron is gone? Are you sad for the character of Kiki Jerome being gone? Did you love Maura West's performance? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comments below what you thought. And if you like this video, give it a big old thumbs up, subscribe if you want to, and I will catch you guys next week.